Hey guys, welcome to Pages with Sidra. Today we are going to start chapter 599 of I Have 90 Billion Licking Gold Coins. If you haven't watched the previous chapters, make sure to check them out on my channel. Now, without any delay, let's dive into the chapter. Chapter 1023, It's a Fake. This guy's kind of cute. I said it was the Qian Yuan sword, and he actually believed me. Watching Qian Yuan fly off without even looking back, Qian Yuan duo suddenly burst into laughter. Serves you right for hitting me and then trying to make me agree to 3 conditions. Consider this payback. You've just been tricked. Her eyes were thoughtful and deep. Right now, 2 images were overlapping in her mind. One was Qian Yuan, young, unruly, charismatic, a national idol with unmatched talent and wealth. The other, Dongxian Yaoxuan, calm, masterful, peerless in martial arts, a legend who stood at the very peak. Qian Yuan and Dongxian Yaoxuan, they're probably the same person. She had already come to a firm conclusion. There's no way 2 such powerful people would suddenly appear at the same time, and also pretend to be master and disciple. That has to be a disguise technique or some kind of trick. The more she thought about it, the clearer things became. Everything started to make sense. Still, no matter what, Qian Yuan had helped her tonight. If he really brought the sword back, she'd leave it with him as a keepsake, a token of thanks. Qian Yuan duo left a note in the prince's mansion and disappeared into the night. The sword really was a family heirloom, but it likely had nothing to do with the ancient legendary Qian Yuan sword. For starters, the sword's design wasn't ancient at all. It looked new, shiny, nothing like a relic passed down from ancient times. And it didn't seem powerful either. In fact, it wasn't even as sharp as modern alloy swords. Ancient forging methods were primitive. Removing impurities from raw iron by hand was extremely difficult. That's why it was called steel refined 100 times. It was hard-earned. But with modern tech, steel is refined much more easily. You could spend a bit of money and have a sword made that easily rivaled those so-called ancient divine weapons. The only thing that made this sword valuable was its sentimental meaning. I just broke through to tier 5. I need to spend time adjusting to this new power. Qian Yuan, I'm not giving up. One day I'll surpass you. She made her vow. A momentary defeat meant nothing. The final winner was still undecided. Qian Yuan duo had never been the type to fall behind. Meanwhile, Qian Yuan landed quietly on a rooftop. Using the cover of night, he moved unseen. This case is weird. Are petty thieves really this bold now? Breaking into the Forbidden City to steal stuff. But how the hell did they even get in? The walls are so high, and there are cameras everywhere. Yet nothing was caught on tape. Captain Zhao, if my guess is right, these guys probably mixed in with the tourists during the day. Then they never left. The night crew didn't do a thorough sweep, and some people slipped through. Possible. Start checking yesterday's visitor logs. Captain, we've just finished taking inventory. No major artifacts seem to be missing. But the wall of the Golden Hall has a huge hole. Looks like something slammed into it with incredible force. Also, the square near the Hall of Supreme Harmony has signs of intense combat. This level of destruction definitely not caused by normal people. You mean someone snuck into the Forbidden City just to fight in the middle of the night? And during the fight, they smashed through the wall of the Golden Hall. That's our best theory. It had to be extraordinary people. We need to hand this over to the 9th Bureau. Just as the investigator finished speaking, a squad from the 9th Bureau arrived. Leading them was the top expert of the 9th Bureau, Dongfang Pe. He carried a long, unusually shaped sword on his back. The moment he stepped onto the scene, he felt a chill. The lingering aura, it felt like the aftermath of a battle between tier 5 powerhouses. Then he spotted something wedged in the stone. A long sword. Huh? Why does this sword look so familiar? Dongfang Pe narrowed his eyes. The moment he saw the sword clearly, his heart skipped a beat. Wait, isn't this Duoduo's sword? That little troublemaker. What has she done now? With a casual motion, he pulled the sword free, just as he was about to inspect it. A voice echoed from the sky. Return the sword. In an instant, the sword in Dongfang Pe's hand flew out, transformed into a streak of sword light. A masked man stood suspended in the air, one foot stepping atop the sword, before hundreds of stunned onlookers. He actually rode the sword through the sky, with every eye watching. He just flew off, upright and unbothered. It wasn't until the silhouette disappeared into the horizon that everyone slowly came back to their senses. Wow. Speechless. Frozen. Shocked. That was sword flight. Holy crap. Am I hallucinating? Did I drink too much last night? Is this an illusion? Nope. That was real sword flight. This doesn't make sense. There's no way this is real, unless cultivators truly exist in this world. Well, the Americans made super soldier serum. Why can't our side have cultivators showing up? My worldview is officially shattered. Even Dongfang Pe, the #1 expert of the 9th Bureau, stood there stunned. That aura just now, it felt like powerful mental force. Was he controlling the sword with pure spiritual power? And I didn't even react in time. If he wanted to kill me, I'd probably already be dead. He felt a cold shiver run down his spine. Way too dangerous. Why did that guy take Duodwa's sword? Could it be Duod was in his hands? No good. I have to report this to Master Long right away. At that moment, Chen Yuan returned to the prince's mansion on his sword. This sword flight thing feels pretty similar to flying shoes, but it's actually easier. With shoes, I had to control 2 separate pieces, splitting my focus. But sword flight just needs 1 focus point. It's much simpler. If I'd known, I'd have started with sword flight. Those damn shoes made me fall 10 times when I first tried. Back at the mansion, Chen Yuan looked around and realized Xian Yuan Duo was gone. There was a note on the newly renovated front gate. Chen Yuan, I'll fulfill the 3 conditions, so long as they don't violate my principles. Xian Yuan Duo, accept my loss. Also, the Xian Yuan sword was fake. You got scammed. Haha. Chapter 1024, Super Harvest. It's fake? She dared to trick me. Damn it, I'm pissed. Chen Yuan held the sword in his hand, examining it carefully. Sure enough, nothing special. Just a plain old iron sword. I knew it. How could the Xian Yuan sword be so ordinary? Ding. Detected. Level 6 civilization weapon. This weapon possesses the power to destroy worlds. Please use with caution. Huh. Chen Yuan was stunned. Did I just hallucinate? This thing? World-destroying power? It doesn't even look sharp enough to cut down a tree. Ding. Level 6 civilization divine sword is currently sealed. Spend 500 enhancement points to temporarily unseal and gain control for 10 minutes. Ding. Spend 50,000 enhancement points to permanently bind the weapon as your own. The system prompts kept ringing in his head. Chen Yuan had no choice but to believe it might actually be real. Even Xian Yuan Duo probably didn't know the truth. She thought it was just a useless sword. 50,000 points? That's insane. How many simps would I have to farm to get that many? Ding. Host has evolved into a level 5 civilization life form. You no longer need enhancement points to control the weapon. It can be used directly through your own strength. Okay, never mind then. Chen Yuan rolled his eyes. 500 points I can manage. At least that gives me 10 minutes of God mode if needed. But 50,000? That's just robbery. Meanwhile, Xian Yuan Duo had just returned to Blue Sea Villa Complex. Her phone rang. Hello? Master, why are you calling so late? Duo, are you alright? Someone from the 9th Bureau, Dongfang's boy, called me. He said he saw your sword taken by some mysterious expert. I was worried something had happened to you. I'm fine, Master. I just sparred with Chen Yuan a bit today. And the result? Master Long asked calmly. I lost, she said. Xian Yuan Duo didn't give many details. She just admitted her defeat. But even without specifics, Master Long felt a storm roaring in his heart. He knew Duo's strength better than anyone. She was a once-in-a-century prodigy. Among the younger generation, there was no one who could even come close to her. She stood at the peak of her era, leagues beyond anyone else. His greatest pride. He was certain that in less than 100 years, she would surpass him and become the next guardian of China. And yet she lost? To someone just as young? Who exactly is this Dongxin Yaoxuan? Not only is he unimaginably strong, but he even trained a young genius capable of defeating Duo. Even I might not be able to do that. After a moment of silence, Master Long sighed and tried to comfort her. It's all right, Duo. Winning and losing are part of life. Sometimes a setback is actually a blessing. Master, I understand. Thank you for your concern. Also, I've broken through to Tier 5. The words fell quietly. On the other end of the line, Master Long froze. Shock overwhelmed his face. What did you just say? You reached Tier 5. Yes, Master, she said softly. With that confirmation, he could no longer contain his excitement. 18 years old, and tier 5? That was monstrous. A genius like that only came around once in 1,000 years. The Qian clan had hope again. Good. Very good. You're even more outstanding than I expected. Master Long's voice trembled with emotion. He was genuinely pleased. But I still lost. Even at tier 5, I couldn't beat Qian Yuan. What? Not even after your breakthrough? Yes, Master. Master Long shot up from his meditation cushion, eyes wide in disbelief. This was too much. An 18-year-old tier 5 cultivator was already an absolute freak of nature. But Qian Yuan? He was even stronger than that. Seems I'll need to find time to investigate this Qian Yuan myself. A thought stirred in Master Long's heart. Could Qian Yuan actually be Dongxian Yaoxuan himself? Otherwise, how could someone in their early 20s be this powerful? Meanwhile, elsewhere, big things were happening. The US has been acting strangely. A major event might be coming. A sudden magnitude 9 earthquake hit the Americas. Some say it's connected to an ancient civilization ruin. The Skull and Bones Society has started throwing money around like crazy, flooding the global markets. America's behavior is becoming increasingly erratic. This can't continue. We must start dumping US debt, even if there's a cost. If we keep following their madness, the common people won't be able to survive. Recently, prices in the US had exploded. Massive amounts of wealth were flowing into the economy. Gas, food, meat, real estate, labor, everything had shot up to absurd levels. Especially labor. Some places were paying $100 an hour. People could work a month in the US and then live comfortably for years in Southeast Asia. But why was the dollar still so strong? Was this fair? Obviously not. People had tolerated it before. If the US printed money, other countries followed suit. But recently, it had gone too far. Capitalists were hoarding land, launching wild acquisition campaigns. Close to $1 trillion had been injected into the market. The global economy was being shaken to its core. Some countries had already started rejecting the dollar, refusing to recognize it as valid currency. But those were small nations. There hadn't been a major impact yet. Now, maybe the bigger countries needed to take a stand. Even if they didn't ban the dollar entirely, at least they could make it harder to exchange or limit how much could be converted. The next morning, international headlines exploded. Several major powers had begun dumping US debt. The dollar crashed. Within just a single day, its value was cut in half, an unprecedented collapse. The shocking news stunned the world. The dollar system was falling apart. Many still didn't understand how serious this was. But in reality, most of the world's wealthiest individuals held their fortune in US dollars. If the dollar dropped by half, then half their wealth just vanished. Previously, $1 equals 6 Chinese yuan. Now, $1 equals 3 yuan. In effect, the US economy had just lost half its total value overnight. Many people were about to lose everything. Some would jump from buildings. Economists worldwide were stunned. No one thought the crash would be this extreme. Even the major powers that initiated the sell-off were caught off guard. But at the center of it all, the true culprit, Wang Kai, was gleefully reporting to Qian Yuan. Master, mission complete. This time, we made a clean $30 trillion. That's it for today's chapter recap. If you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with the latest manga, manhwa, and manhwa recaps. Got thoughts on today's chapter? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on the story. Also, if you know other fans who were reading this manhwa but stopped because it got axed, share this video with them. The more support we get, the more motivation we'll have to keep making these videos. See you in the next one. Until then, keep turning the pages.